welcome back to the channel. This is Chris with 1.daily, and today is 2 for Tuesday. So we're going to take a couple look at a couple of case 92 Texas jacks. And one of them is kind of a cleaner knife, and the other one's a little bit older and needs a cleanup, so we're going to do a cleanup on it as well. All right, stick around, check it out. All right, so the first knife we're going to take a look at today is the case 6292. Now this is a really pretty one in this is a 79 1 dot, so it's the 1.daily knife. It's got some really pretty, that s'mores kind of pretty bone on there on the front, and then on the back it's a little different, kind of has, but it's still the pretty bone, I guess, would be considered, with a little bit of a different color scheme going on there. It kind of fades out to real light in the back. This one's got a couple little pepper spots back on the spring, but the blade is in really good shape. It's got one little teeny tiny scrape on there. You can't really, there you can kind of see it, but really pretty knife for the 1.daily collection. I really like this shape on here and the way that it feels in the hand. It's really a good size. See if I can say really anymore. Yeah, and so they made a few different, it was a Stockman, it was a stock knife. You can see the secondary here. Obviously this is the Texas Jack version of the 92 pattern, which I guess I read, and I'll read it in a second. We'll get in the book. Was a Texas stock knife, with the squared bolsters like this, in the 3-blade formation with a spay or a sheepfoot or whatever, or both, whatever it came with. All right, cool. So then the second knife today is a 10 dot 1970 6292. And this knife, if you look, like, this blade is in really good, like super full. Looks to me like, I would guess, possibly never sharpened. Definitely has the original finish still on there. Kind of has some cool, like, what do you want to call it? Teeners, if you want. Patina going on that blade, along with a bunch of carbon spot. But this one has a very rough back spring. You can see something happened to it. It was left sitting somewhere, who knows what. There's a little bit of it on the tang, but it fortunately did not really get on the blade in the same manner that it's on the back spring. So I assume there's going to be some substantial pitting under there. But this knife I got, well, okay, I think that I didn't understand. I think that, like, Texas Jacks are worth a little less than like a 3-blade Stockman 92 would be. The 2-blade knives I think they just go a little bit cheaper. So I paid $70 for this knife. In fact, I think that might be wrong. I might have paid closer to $60 for it. But either way, I think because of the condition, it might have been an overpay, because I see, like, really good examples going for like $120, I think. I don't know. When I see a 10 dot red bone in, like, where the blade's full, like, and it's pretty, man. This bone is, I think it's gonna clean up and be a stunner, because this one I really want to carry. This guy here is kind of, it's like kind of minty condition. So I'd rather just have that example put up and then carry this guy, because obviously it's going to have pitting and not be like a perfect knife. And I mean, you know, if we're all honest, like, I mean, I love this bone, but I'm still gonna like, I'm still, you know, 79 pride or or whatever, but I'm still gonna say that the red bone, especially from a 10 dot, I don't know what it is, man. I think a 10 dot is just super super cool. Yeah, so this will be a great carry, and I think it'll clean up fairly good. I mean, this will be what kind of determines how good it can look. Because if there's heavy pitting under there, I'm not sure. But you know, this blade, it's basically in perfect shape. But you know, like that Remington's so cool as a single. I think I'm just gonna saw this off with a Dremel right here, and you know, keep it, you know, I don't want to take it apart or anything. I'll just saw that off at the tang with a Dremel and then tuck it down in. You barely know it was ever there, right? I'm only kidding, guys. I'm only kidding. I am not going to saw that off, obviously. No, I'm gonna leave this one alone. It's gonna be great. It's a perfect, you know, like width or whatever, and be a really really good carry. So it does have kind of this. The handle is coming off a little bit right here, and when I push down on that bone, the bone drops below. Like when it gets flat on the liner, it's below the bolster, which for me, I don't know. It's like it shouldn't be like that. When it was hafted, it almost makes me think that when it was hafted, it was off of the liner from the factory. Otherwise, it would be smooth. Like it would just be smooth there. Because if you push down and make it smooth, there's still room. Does that make sense? You see what I'm saying? I don't know. So I don't know what to do. I don't know if I want to like pin that down a little and put glue under and just have it up. I guess maybe I'll do that. Like when I go to like kind of polish it, it might leave. I don't know. I'll have to be careful. That's probably what I'll do. I'll see if that pin gets through. I'd rather not try to glue it, but that might seal it a little. I don't know. I'll see what I get with just trying to peen it with that. You know, that's the one good thing about the that anvil that I got from James, is that I can put the end of it in there and get to a handle pin really easy. So anyway, that's the deal with today. I'm going to clean this guy up, but let's just quickly, well, first let's check off, because we've got the 6292 that we can check off of the list here. And I had it 6292 right here. And it says it was $16 in 1979. Cool. So we can check that one off of our list. About 10 million to go. I'm a little worried about completing that list. I think I'm gonna have to go for just like the folders and non-special runs. The special runs aren't on the list anyways. Some of them weren't even produced in 1979, I'm finding out. Yeah, so clean up on this guy, but let's just take a look quickly at what the book kind of says, because there's some cool kind of interesting patterns in the 92 that I wasn't aware of. Okay, so the 92 pattern is a large Stockman pattern with squared bolsters, close length 4 inches. It goes back to the early years of Case, and during the Case XX years and later. It has been manufactured as both the 3-blade Stockman pattern and 2-blade jack pattern. Collectors sometimes refer to the 92 pattern with 2 blades as a Texas jack. In the cutlery industry, squared bolsters, larger premium Stockman patterns were traditionally referred to as Texas pattern Stockman knives. This may explain the origin of the name Texas Jack for this pattern. All right, so that's cool. Blade and handle variations, 6292, 5392, so stag, 6392, and then a 33092 is kind of interesting, and one that I think that hunting, fishing, praying, I don't know if it's a 33092 that he has, or if it's a different frame, but he definitely has a bird's eye, I think, or hopefully I'm thinking of the right guy, Jim. Anyway, and it has that bird's eye, old school, non-bolster look to it. And that was introduced in the XX era and discontinued in 1981. The 6392 was discontinued in 1990. And then they stopped making that stag version, from 70 to 79. There was like a period where they didn't make any stag at Case. So that's interesting. And then the coolest of all is like one I'd never seen. Was like, look at this guy. This is a 6592 from the tested era. And here's a picture of that guy. Look at that. That's like the most amazing knife that's up there with like a sow belly. You know what I mean? That's such a cool pattern to find that. Could you imagine finding something like that? Anyways, very, very cool. So stick around, and thanks for, letting me get in that book a little bit and kind of just briefly go over. And then the Texas Jack, sorry, it's in the book and I didn't get to the page, was discontinued in like 2000, like the year 2000. So I guess this is still a discontinued pattern right now. But stick around. We're going to clean up this knife and see if we can get some of this off the back spring, how good a job we can do. All right, guys. Okay, so here's the knife. This one actually was a much harder cleanup than I anticipated. You can see here that I got a bunch of that, rust off the back spring, but obviously it was heavily pitted under there, which I don't mind. So I've got gardeners and stuff and kids screaming outside, but yeah, so it's heavily pitted there, and I'm not sure, but this I really struggled with the, remember the scale, the handle was lifted there, and man, it was, I mean, this bone, it must be warped. I got in here off camera. I just started messing with the pin that was there. And, you know, I thought, okay, I got that anvil. I'll try to replace the pin in the handle, you know, without taking it apart. Man, easier said than done. Maybe there is a technique for that. However, I did get a new pin. That's a new pin, and I didn't, and so, and I'm like, you know, like I know I can do it. However, this bone is so stiffly coming off of there. I'm wondering if somehow the amount of rust or whatever that happened here has something to do with maybe warping that bone. I mean, I maybe it came from the factory like that, but it is it's just really warped. I tried everything. I tried to tack it down with a little bit of glue. I have this glue that was recommended to me by James over at Warrior Works, and what's really cool about it, and you guys should check these out. They're like a micro tube pens for crafting. Found them. He sent me a link, and God, I'll try and find the link. But it's so tiny that it comes to off of this this glue bottle. That really, if this knife bone wasn't so, here's the stuff here. Bob Smith Industries, whatever, and you can find these little, and this clips on, man, and it becomes, I mean, this is so tiny, I couldn't even tell you how tiny that is. It'll go right in under. And so I also tried to glue it, you know, because I was going to tack it down and then pin it. And just because I can't take it apart, I want to take the knife apart to fix that. Just seems invasive, but at this point, is what it needs. The glue would not hold though, because this is so strong, the way that it's warped, that is really pulling. And then when I went to pin it, it's such a hard thing to pin that, you know, and I'm surprised I got it pinned at all. But I didn't want to pound on that. So I just kind of like surrendered a little bit. It's still, you know, it's still coming up a little, but whatever. Next thing, these blades. I wanted so badly to keep, because there was some of the original finish on it. But I mean, you can see from the back spring there. So that pitting, there was some of that also on the blade, and you can see it here. I didn't want to take the fiber wheel to it. I didn't at first, because see the fiber wheel, man, it makes these lines in it, and yeah, it gets the rust off, but it makes some lines in it. And I didn't want to sand on it, but I mean, look at that. That's I don't. It's okay. It's cleaner. You know, I think it was more important to get the rust off than keep the original finish on this. But see that? Those lines, like, I hate that, man. Like, it's just not the right way. You know, I'm still learning this stuff. There's this gentleman here, you guys all know this guy, Michael Richter. He's very good at blade care, and he has, I watched a video on his about the way that he keeps lines straight when he's cleaning, let's say, the patina off. Now, I'm not sure I haven't watched the video for a moment, but I went out and I bought all the stuff that he recommended. And so I think this knife is kind of like a to be continued, like a little bit of work in I mean, it's fine. The thing's fine. I'm going to sharpen it up and put it in my pocket. But I really want to get proficient, if I'm going to do this, at, you know, getting those like that. Those lines just aren't, that's not cool, you know? But hey, I'm learning. I haven't been doing this very long, and I think that blade work is just much more kind of finite and challenging. There's less room for error, let's just say, than on the rest of the knife, I think. You know, bone will crack or whatever, but you can be careful. The blades, I need a technique. I need a good technique. Maybe it's a tool that I don't have. I'm not sure. Anyway, work in progress. However, I mean, the thing looks awesome. I mean, who could argue with a big piece of beautiful 10-dot red bone? I mean, the thing's awesome. It's going to be very, very cool to carry this knife. And I mean, look at that. It's just a very handsome knife. So there's that. That's the story with that guy. Bolsters came out real, you know, it's pretty, but I want to get, I want this blade work. The handle, I'm not sure. That bone is, I'm convinced it's warped is what it is, because it just will not, it just wants to curve up, and it's just a weird, yeah, it doesn't want to ever sit flat down, which most handles on knives that are coming loose, I mean, they naturally want to be flat on the liner, because that's how it was originally. And so I don't know necessarily what the story is with that. And here's the, you know, here's kind of the minty 79, 92 there. And then because these are a 92 Stockman pattern, which would, you know, normally, you know, have a 3-blade, they make a 2-blade 47. And I just thought for, it's a 0247, right? Yeah, 0247. And this is a 10-dot 2-blade 0247. You know, and that rides on one spring. So it's a much, much thinner knife, but I thought I'd bring it up for size comparison, to these guys. These are both 10 dots, and it's very, very, I mean, it's barely different. The blade's much, I mean, this is a mint knife. The blade's quite a bit shorter, but the overall handle of the knife is, you know, I think that's only an eighth apart. I believe it's 4 inches to 3 7/8, but it's very close. It's almost, you know, without a tape measure or really getting close, it's hard to even see much of a difference. However, there's obviously a major difference in the width of these two knives. And, you know, while this one's much less in your pocket, this one feels a little better, you know, it feels a little better in your hand, slightly better in your hand maybe than this guy. I don't know. Let's see here. You know what? Actually, that's not right. No, this is a fantastic knife, man. This is a pretty substantial, this is a great knife. I would say actually that I don't necessarily prefer one of those two over the other. It's just what you want to, how much you want to put in your pocket, I guess. Anyways, guys, thank you for sticking around. Yeah, tell me what you guys think. Tell me if you can point me to the exact right recipe to make a blade perfect like that. Definitely check out these two gentlemen. I mean, he's fun to watch. Michael Richter is very fun to watch. And he has an intimate knowledge. He uses all of his knives, and and I feel like when it comes to a blade, like he has a relationship with those blades. He spends a lot of time hand sharpening, technique, really, really cool. I'd like to learn from. James at Warrior Works, man, if you need to know about a tool, like he's your guy. Like he knows every tool there is. I think he's got every tool there is. So really cool. Like you get a lot from both these gentlemen. But yeah, check them out if you haven't checked out their channels. I always assume, especially with Richter Knives, that everyone knows who that is. James a little newer than Michael. Anyways, guys, all right, I'll shut up. Have a great day, and thanks for checking out the video. All right.